Sometimes I open my Instagram and I get a DM from someone saying, hi, black cow. I don't really know what to say. They're obsessed with my skin color.
Really?
And I think it's because when a woman is talking about her expectations from a relationship, especially an Indian woman, and she says it so openly that I need a guy to treat me like this. Then they look at, oh, but are you fair?
What do you deserve? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you light-skinned? And if you're not, oh, no,
Shut
you're...
up.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the kind of comments that I get. I've also got comments, oh my God, this was... this is the funniest one. There was this one guy who commented on my video saying, oh, she's dark-skinned, she's black, so she's one of the leftovers. So I have no idea how she has the balls to talk about her. They literally called me a leftover. And I was so shocked by it, but it's just a part of social media, right? Hey, what can you do?
Please, I don't get the colorism thing because I also got it. Like, for me, I got it from someone who sent me a DM being like, you should use this, this, and this because I feel like you are probably fair, but you don't know how to take care of your skin. And I was like, it's not even a hate comment. It's like she's trying to help.
I know. That's even worse when they're just trying to help you.
It's worse.
Yeah.
But this is horrible. And it's all internalized colonialism at the end of the day, right? That's what us brown people do. We chase the white skin.
Yeah, exactly.
That is annoying that they say this to you. Does it get to you?
You know, before I go to sleep tonight, I just want to say one thing. Throughout my journey, and I'm on about my journey from a very young age, there has been one community that has helped me, that has educated me and made me grow into the man I am today. And that is the black community.
What do you mean you're brown? I'm looking at a group of people who are literally the exact same shades as me and my people. They look me in the eye and say, us brown people, as if we are not all the same color.
Hello, my friend. You definitely made a few good points and raised some good questions. Why would Indians or South Asians in general use identities like brown, which seem black adjacent, when their skin color can often be the same, if not darker, than many people of African descent? Well, I'd say there's a few reasons, right? Well, to begin, the black identity in America seems quite specific to the African American community. There's this distinct experience and history tied to that identity that doesn't really apply to South Asians. It feels to me as if Indians identifying with black sort of dilutes the actual black experience. I'm sure many people of African American descent would agree. Beyond that, South Asia is actually quite diverse when it comes to phenotype, not just skin tone, but also other physical features. If you go to the South, many people will have skin tones that are quite similar to those of African descent, and occasionally even Afro hair. But these traits are not consistent throughout the huge landmass, which is referred to as the subcontinent for a reason. Now here you'll find people who look East or Southeast Asian, those who seem Middle Eastern, and those who could pass as European. So if you were to apply that identity onto the entire subcontinent based on the appearance of only a few groups, it wouldn't make much sense. Personally, I don't even like to use identities like brown or desi anymore, simply because the diversity, I think, can best be represented through terms that describe geographical positioning. So I prefer to use terms like South Asian to represent those people, or simply use the national identities of each country. Isn't that interesting? Good discussion.
Hello lovelies, welcome back to today's episode. Indians, Americans this time around, they are trying to give gratitude to black Americans. According to them, they are trying to explain the way they've been getting a lot of help from black Americans, while the rest, Indians, were abandoning them, discriminating them. You remember Indians have colorism among themselves. There is a way one community will not like you the way your skin looks like. Let's dive into today's episode. Drop your thought in the comment section, then we'll come back with more commentaries.
And I'm sorry for being so vague in saying the black community. And the reason why is because it's so diverse and I can't pinpoint specific groups. So I'm from Reading. Now, Reading, the first group of immigrants to ever come to Reading were Caribbeans. And one thing that the Caribbeans did from a very young age was they created, along with other African members, they created the Pan-African Society, which was after-school curriculums built for black students because they were getting neglected by the education system. Now, for some reason, I was enrolled into this. And my belief is that they thought I was mixed race. So I was allowed into these classes. There I learned a lot. I was bumped up in the English language, but also they taught me a lot about history. About Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., about Black Panthers, about Assata Shakur. All these amazing things. And that helped me, and that helped me grow, and that helped me learn. And so as I grew up and I grew older, I learned a lot more about the black community, and I learned more about that than my own community. But one thing I noticed, black people really not only just look out for their own, but they make sure to grow and keep going. And that's one thing I fell in love with from a very young age, was Muhammad Ali. Now, when Muhammad Ali passed away, I always thought, what's the equivalent in the UK to our Muhammad Ali? Who is it? And I realized today it's Stormzy. So Stormzy is a rapper from the UK who went viral from this video where he's basically just telling someone shut up. But I noticed one thing: when he became famous, he didn't just like become rich and famous and just brag about it. He built a production company. He built a book publishing thing, which he's helping and pushing for people of color to like get their books published. He also funded so many black students to go to Oxford University. And he's still doing so much more. And also his performance at Glastonbury, where he wore the stab vest and he like called out the government, especially his line where he said, "How would you like if we burnt your house down?" Referring to the Grenfell fire, where loads of innocent people died because a house got burnt down and the government neglected it. And the reason why I'm making this video is I would like to appreciate and just let the black community know that you guys have done so much for me. Because there's no one from my community. We don't have like a Malcolm X in our community. We don't have anything similar to like Muhammad Ali. Imran Khan is probably the closest, but like, it's because of black people I am where I am. Black women taught me how to look after my hair and like taught me how to maintain my curls. It was black men like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Muhammad Ali that taught me how to be courageous, how to love. It was Muhammad Ali, a black Muslim reaver, that taught me to fall in love with my religion and my name. So I owe the black community so much. So while I'm here, and I know everyone gives me credit saying, "Oh, you did great," this isn't me. Even the way I speak, everything, it's all from the black community. And my great friend, Jordan, just, I know what black love is, and God, it's beautiful. So I would like to say thank you to the black community. I would like to say thank you to Stormzy. I would like to say thank you to Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Sat Shakur. Just the list goes.
I just want to say the way that black women, black creators have helped me embrace my skin color is just not talked about enough. I mean, just the impact that black beauty creators have had on brown girls, teaching us how to do makeup for skin tones that's not white, teaching us about hyperpigmentation. I grew up on Jackie Aina, and before I started watching her, before I found her, I tried so hard to find makeup tutorials for someone with my skin tone. I'm a lot lighter now, but when I was younger, I was darker because I don't know, you're always like darker when you're a child, I think, because you're going outside more. I tried so hard to find like Indian skin tone makeup videos, tutorials on YouTube, and it was just impossible. There was no brown girl that I could find that was doing makeup tutorials for our skin tone. And if I did find someone doing makeup, it was like an Indian makeup artist doing someone's bridal makeup. They were painting her white. But once I found black creators, brown skin black creators, I learned so much more than just makeup and color theory. I definitely had some of that stuff in the back of my head. I was taking in a little bit of information. But the main thing I learned from watching black creators do their makeup so artfully, having similar skin tone to mine and even darker, is that brown skin is beautiful. Especially because I am an immigrant, and for the first few years of my life I did go to an Indian school in the Middle East. Colorism was such a huge problem. Every single day I was reminded that I am dark and ugly. I mean, it was just such a terrible message to send to young girls. Also in the Middle East we had access to Indian television, and the commercials that would come on Sony TV was like Fair and Lovely and all that shit. Like, I was exposed to all of that. I just grew up to like know that, okay, brown, dark, like tan skin is just bad, you know, it doesn't look good, people just don't like it. I just wanted to take a moment to like talk about this because it's insane, like the impact that black women have had on me personally, on my self-love journey, and I'm so grateful and so thankful for that. So brown girls, whoever else is watching this, did you guys have any favorite black creators, black beauty creators, beauty gurus back in the day, like on YouTube? Let me know.
Here's how I started getting comfortable with my dark skin. Like every other dark skinned girl, I too used to hate my skin color. I just used to feel very uncomfortable with it until I met Sean. So to those of you who don't know, Sean Romy is this really beautiful model. So when I was about 16 years old, I dropped her a DM and asked if we could collaborate on a shoot. And when I met her for the first time, I was shocked at how someone could look so beautiful. She had this rich, dusky skin tone, and the first thing I told my mom was, "Did you see her skin color? So beautiful." And my mom's response to that was, "What are you talking about? You're literally the same skin color." And holy that actually changed everything. Because up until then, I never saw my skin as pretty. I just had a very negative attitude towards it. But then I saw the way that she carried herself, and it was like a switch in my mind at that point. From then on, I made it a point to stop talking negatively about my skin. If you don't hear a light-skinned person making fun of themselves, you don't need to do the same. Now, this was about 8 years ago. And since then, I started traveling a lot, and every single time I traveled, I swear to you, I would get complimented by strangers on the street for my skin color, something that would have never ever happened in India. I no longer shy away from wearing bright colors. In fact, white is one of my favorite colors to wear. I just think it looks so beautiful on my skin. And the biggest thing that I learned from this is that when you completely accept yourself and you're confident, you can also inspire people to accept themselves. I swear to you, dark skin is so beautiful. And it's so sad that we are taught to not embrace it or to shy away from colors, when in reality, it is so beautiful. If you're a dark skinned girl and you struggle with it, so many people would die for your skin color. I was on the other side of hating my skin color, and now it's literally one of the favorite.
Not just race. People of color can be both oppressed and settlers at the same time, depending on the context.
Wait a minute, what? So basically you're coming for African Americans because you all were promised equal power in your treaty that has not been acknowledged and has not been honored. And that's somehow our fault? This content creator made a video essentially saying that Black people benefit from colonialism. Ain't that some bullshit? Why the fuck people just don't leave us alone? How the fuck we benefit from something where we were brought here against our will? Not only that, we were murdered, we were raped, we were eaten, we were beaten, we were slaughtered, we were fed to alligators. And you're saying that we benefited from colonialism, and we still do, because we have jobs and have homes and have land and we work and we get benefits from the government and pay taxes. So we're the enemy now? It seems like your problem is with the wrong persons. It seems like you don't want to offend your oppressor because somehow, some way, you really still feel like there's an opportunity in y'all having equal rights and equal power over the United States. And I'm here to tell you, boo-boo, that's not going to happen. I promise you that. It seems like y'all, in the time, your ancestors should have fought a little bit harder. To keep what was rightfully yours. You want them to restore sovereignty. That doesn't have to be restored if y'all just fought a little harder. Don't you think so? Now you see how crazy that sounds when your ancestors were beaten, raped, murdered, and things were stolen from them? Kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? We were taken from West Africa and our land was taken over. Have you ever heard of Mansa Musa? He was the richest, wealthiest person in the world that ever existed. Our ancestors were stripped of their wealth. They were stripped of their resources, and we were bought here through our ancestors. And then you go on to say in your video, well, I don't feel like y'all should have to leave the United States. I don't feel like you should have to leave the land. Bitch, we're not. We built this shit. For you to sit up here and say, well, you know, I just had trouble trying to phrase it the right way. Maybe you should redo some research. Maybe you should keep your mouth shut before you get on this platform and say the most ignorant shit that you could ever think of. It is not our fault that y'all were not given equal power as stated in your treaty, and you want your sovereignty to be restored. Mind you, you all got reparations. You all get Native American TANF and Native American stamps, and you have had decades upon decades of settlements, decades upon decades of reparations. Your family is set for life. Your kids are set for life. We weren't given anything. And whenever we say anything about it, it's, oh, you're throwing the black card, you're throwing the race card. And for you to say the oppressed are settlers, girl, get the fuck out my face.
Hey, this is not my regular content, but I wanted to come in here and discuss a little bit about the 3 Indian women being kicked out of the Spirit Airlines. And the reason I want to talk about it is As somebody from a South Asian background and as an academic, I have been doing research on diasporic identity for the last 20 years. My dissertation was on diasporic identity, and I've also created a whole framework on South Asian diasporic identity. And I want to say this unequivocally, that the issue of anti-blackness, colorism, and casteism is a huge problem in our community. And it's a problem across the world, but in South Asian community, it is super pronounced, so much so that even our own people are at the receiving end of it due to colorism and anti-blackness, as well as casteism, of course. Anybody who tells you that casteism is not a thing of India because it's illegal and certainly doesn't matter over here are either just ignorant or just willfully lying to you, because casteism does cross oceans, and of course classism and anti-blackness is pervasive anyway. So what happened there was absolutely all of these three things put together, and the flight attendant wasn't doing too much. So please stop any discourse around like what she could have done, how she could have said it or not said it or whatever. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It matters that we as a community talk about these things, because as a community we don't. I'll tell you why I'm saying these in such a passionate way. Because when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was dating a Black man, and my entire family disowned me, and my community talked shit about me because of it. And what was my crime? Because I dated a Black man, and that was bringing shame to the family. And I didn't care for it, because at that time, he was studying chemistry. He was majoring in chemistry, like chemistry honors, and I was biochemistry honors at that time. So I didn't see why that would, like, if there was something else about him that was not palatable because of who he was and his character or something, I would have considered it at least for a moment, like, okay, where's this coming from, whatever. But the fact that he's Black and therefore unworthy of being partnered with me, I don't really know how anybody can think that, because in our community there are people that are much darker than a lot of Black people are as well. So where this comes from, obviously years of being enslaved by the British, and this internalized hatred we have of ourselves, where we think that proximity to whiteness and proximity to fair skin somehow makes us better than others who don't have that proximity. And that's why in one of the tenets in the framework that I created has a category called beloved and problematic communities. We have many things to be proud of as a community. I'm very proud of being South Asian, but I cannot bypass some of the things that are super problematic in our community. And I'm just making this video to just join the forces that are calling out of everybody that is, supporting any of one of these three Indian women, and anybody who harbors these thinking that we can treat people, especially Black women, this way is something that we should none of us should stand for that. And all of us should come out and say that, because the violence against Black women from other communities of color and as well as from dominant communities is a lot, and we don't need to pile on and be more of an agent of creating pain for Black women. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening to my rant.
So by now we've all seen that video of that South Asian woman screaming the N-word at the top of her lungs. She said the word like 9 times in the matter of 60 seconds. As a South Asian myself, I watched that video and I was disgusted, but I was not surprised. Because if you're South Asian, you know at least one person in your vicinity or like outer circle that happily says the N-word like it's their God-given right. And those are the type of people, if you ever try to confront them, they will do everything but take responsibility. I remember one time at a family function, I was trying to tell somebody that they shouldn't be saying the N-word. They then made up a rumor about me and spread it throughout the whole community. So I'm not gonna lie, ever since then, I've always stayed away from people like that, but I do feel like as the sane ones in our community, we have a responsibility to make these people feel ashamed of their actions, especially because they go out and make us look bad. This is not what our community represents. We are so much better and smarter than this. It's honestly disgusting to see that people in 2025 will continue to say this stuff. So yeah, consider this my official petition to kick these people out of the group. If you know somebody like this, Stop calling them, stop inviting them to your parties or whatever the heck. Make them feel ashamed for their actions.
When you try to hear very well the history of Indians, you remember they have this level of anti-blackness in them, and it is something they grew up teaching them in one way or the other. These Indian Americans, after reaching on this side of Americans, seeing they are less trying to discriminate black people, and yet some of them, they get also that discrimination from their own race. It is something really bad to hear, because you can't tell how this time around each and everyone is trying to tell people, you need to understand black history, you need to understand that you've been lied to. How come you grew up, your community convinced you that you need to take yourself, to compare yourself, to take yourself in as a white people, and yet they know that truly you are a black people, you have black roots. No wonder black people has been there saying a lot. These Indian people, they don't know their history, they don't know each and everything concerning them. How come as an Indian you are just discriminate black people, saying they are people of color, and yet yourself, even looking at your skin, you are like them? If you are brown color with a dark skin, who do you consider yourself belongs to? No wonder these Indian Americans, when you try to hear them, some of them, they are trying to say, we've been having a hard time from our people. We have colorism in our community. We grew up having this trauma and stress. You remember, among Indian community, Indian culture, when you are more lighter skin, they will give you more favor more than someone who has dark skin, though you are siblings. That's the way this also Latino, they grew up teaching them that you need to have priority according to the color of your skin, which is something really bad. And you couldn't even understand who brought all these things. No wonder when you see them, especially these Indian Americans, try to give gratitude to black people, it's really something good. They are trying to tell us, since I met black creators, I met black people, I started to love myself. I started to feel that I still have value. I need to have confidence the way God created me. I never knew that I'm someone who's been valued by others. But my people, they don't want us. They just see us as a trash, as nothing. And yet, we are also human beings. Imagine, you are a family, you have different kids, children, you are just discriminating them because they don't have the same skin tone. You are just trying to tell them, I don't want to see you. You look like you belong in a black community. I don't want anything to do with you. And yet, these Indian Americans, these who are anti-blackness, I don't understand why they can't sit down and learn more about their history. Who were on this land of Americans first? When the black people came on this land from Africa, who were there first? These Indians, what they passed through, the way they've been discriminated for so long, it's quite embarrassing the way some of them, they still have this level of anti-blackness, and yet no one also really liked you. If someone came in America, they story your land, they erase your history, each and everything, even till that you don't have any value. Though some of you got reparations, which is something really good. You know, black Americans never get anything. But when we see you in this side of anti-blackness, it is something really embarrassing. It is something really disappointing. You need to understand very well the history. You need to understand where you came from. In this century, we are even happy to see this young generation trying to say, if it was for black Americans, we wouldn't know more about our history. Because as you see me now, whenever I go in India, they take me as a stranger. But when I'm in a black community, in a black American, at least they give me that respect I really need as a human being. Now you see, this is the people really need to do. People need to come together. If you are sharing the same history, if you are sharing some roots, I don't understand how some Indian Americans, after arriving on this land of America, they forget each and everything. They don't want to hear anything connected to their history. They just feel that they belong in a white supremacy, and these white people, they don't even recognize them. They don't even know them. No wonder when you see black people trying to educate them more about their history, they need to take it as something which is a treasure. How come you are just sitting there, you are seeing black Americans as a trash, you are trying to cover each and everything, don't want to hear the reality, you don't want to hear the truth. Freedom you are enjoying was from black people losing their lives for you to have this freedom of life you are enjoying in America. Can't you remember what the black people did during civil rights movement? The way they lose their life, millions of black people lose their life fighting for your rights. Now this time around, as a migrant, you have freedom of life on this land, and yet you can't recognize these black Americans. You are keep seeing them as people of color, and yet for you are recognized as a people of color. It doesn't even make any sense. People need to wake up. People need to stand up. People need to start to try to change their mindset. Because if you can't know better where you came from, you are not going to know where you are going, because you don't want the history to guide you. You don't want the history to give more knowledge you never knew about your race. Guys, let me know what you think today's episode. Drop your thought in the comment section. Thank you for watching. See you in my next episode.